Hello everyone, Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I am in the middle of the larger bag for Emma. Slightly larger than the peg bag. I don't think I could do any larger than these because I've never seen any larger, the bottoms on it. I've never seen any larger than these ones. I don't know whether this is the largest size to do. But when I did this one, when I picked up the stitches all around, to make it even larger than what the bottom is, I'm making it so it's going to come out. This is the bottom, and it's going to spread out a little bit at the sides. So when I made the stitches round where the holes were, on the rounded part here, I doubled up on a few of the stitches, I think. There, I think 2 together up there and 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 holes around there. I doubled up the stitches on them, and that makes the bag come out at the sides. But it comes out at first, but as it gets bigger, it just carries straight up. But these larger ones are a lot more difficult than what the peg bags are, because I'm okay now, I have something to hold on to on the sides, but when I start off I have to hold it like that, and if I was picking up the stitches here, I've got to get the hook in my finger like that. It is very awkward until I get the first row, and then I use a very small hook to go through the holes, and then I use a little bit larger hook to do the first row, and then I go on to, this is 8mm what I'm doing for the rest, because I've got 2 strands of Aran together here. And I'm using, this is some brown I had that does not seem to be a popular colour. I know I did make a brown cardigan, child's cardigan one time, and it took an awful long time to sell it. It's, even saying that, it's not a colour I favour either. But it was a colour that my husband liked, and he suited. Probably because he was blonde. My husband had blonde hair and fair skin, and brown looked okay on him, but at the time, I mean, my hair used to be dark brown before it started turning grey and white. It did not look as good on me as it looked on him, because I tried his cardigan on and it looked terrible on me, the colour. So I have, I think, 5 balls of this brown, so that's why I'm going to use it up on these bags, because I'm mixing it with the white. So it does look nicer when it's mixed with the white than it does on its own, the brown. But it's not a colour I favour either. Don't know why I bought it. And actually, it was that shop I could go to where it is the, what you call it, that will I get. I can't remember the name of it now. It's a memory. Majestic. I had to look on a label in my bag. I couldn't remember the name of this wool. It was a Majestic. And it was a place, like the warehouse place I used to go, where they don't seem to have any in for quite some time actually, but that's where I used to get it. And it was quite dark in the shop. And I only bought it because I thought it was navy blue. Only when I got it, after I bought it and got it outside, seeing it was actually brown. Oh God, I don't like that colour. But anyway, it's come in handy for the bags. That's where I'm using the bags to use it up on, just to get rid of it actually. So that's what I've been doing with this, and it is just turned 12 o'clock now, so I will be stopping this anyway for my lunch, because I only do so much of this. So I'm going to hold that. Take the balls out of I have the balls in my little bag here. Put them on there and on there. And that's for tomorrow. I'll get back on with that tomorrow, because I only do this up to 12 o'clock, any crochet. because the crochet does bother my hands, so I don't like to do too much of it. So anyway, it's it's a good size. It holds those 2 balls. And I finished the crochet hook in there as well. That is the bag for Emma as well. I finished the little bag. Put a lining in. It's sort of like a green with, hold it right up, you can see it's got gold, little spots and specks of gold inside the green. But I had to look through my sewing box for a thread. I wanted a thread that was near, because it is hand sewn. And I tried to do you can see the stitches. Don't know whether you can see my stitching there. I tried to do the stitches as small as possible so they're not as noticeable, because I can't sew these on my sewing machine there. It's just too awkward to do them on the sewing machine. And this is some thread that was in a sewing box that was left to me. It used to belong to my mother. And my mother died in 2002. Yes, that's 22 years ago my mother died. Now, she was a seamstress, tailoress. She did all sorts of things, and these were her threads. Now, when I try to use these on my sewing machine, they keep snapping, so I think thread must have a sell-by date, because these were the same threads that was in my mother's sewing box. And these are, I think it's Silco, they call these ones. Silco, Dewhurst Silco. Well, they're all right for hand sewing, but they're just, I think they must have a sell-by date, because a lot of them keep snapping whenever I use them on my sewing machine. I've had to buy a new thread myself for to use on my sewing machine. When I sew up the little bags, I sew up the little side, I sew the sides up on the little bags before I put them into the crochet thing. And when I was using the threads that was in my mother's sewing box, they just kept snapping all the time. But these ones are okay for hand sewing. So anyway, I had to buy new threads for what I use on the sewing machine. But there are hundreds of bobbins of thread in that sewing box. Because my mother had that when I was a child, and I loved that sewing box. I used to love to look inside it. I can remember from about 5 years old. So I don't know how long she had it before that. So it's over 70 years old, the sewing box. And I used to love it because as I got older, I used to love to make little things, you know, when you had for your dolls, little dresses and skirts and things like that. And my mother used to hide little bits of material that she had made from dresses and things like that. She used to hide them in the sewing box, and then she used to say to me, "Oh, have a look in the sewing box, Sheila, you might find some little bits for your dolls." But she used to do it on purpose because she knew I loved looking through the box. And she always said to me, whenever anything happened to her, she says, that sewing box was mine. Well, I wasn't the oldest of my 3 sisters. I'm the middle one. And it went down to my older sister. And I tried to tell her at the time, you know, that my mother said, Mum said I could have that sewing box, but she was old, she got everything. But she didn't want it, so she gave it to my youngest sister, Linda. Linda didn't want it either, and I went to my sister's one day, and she was going to throw it. She was going to throw it out. Because I didn't realise Eleanor had passed it on to Linda. So anyway, I took it off Linda, says, "You were not throwing that away." Says, "Mum said I could have that. When she passed, it's mine." And I have it, all the threads, everything was still in, all the needles and everything. Even though my younger sister Linda was an upholsteress, that's what she used to do for a living. She wasn't interested in that box. It's one of those concertina ones that you pull out. I think I've done a little video showing them before. I'll have to do a little video sometime and show you what's inside it at the moment. But anyway, that's the bag finished for Emma. So I just have to finish off the project bag, and I'll be able to send those off to you, Emma, probably a couple of days' time, because I only do the crochet for a couple of hours in the morning. But I've done that one. But this one, I was a little bit out of practice and I never actually wrote down how many rows I do, because when I crochet this, I work this way on. This is, you know, see, this is double in size, and I go backwards and forwards and I work that way so I get the width of the bag right. And I never wrote down how many actual rows I did, and I've counted this up and I've done 4 more rows. There's like 2 rows to each. You have like a line going down, and there's 2 rows in each of those lines. And I've done 2 rows more, 2 of those lines more than what I normally do, because my zips usually end up on the very end. And as you can see, I have a little bit on the end where I've had to sew over those when I've done the sides. I've had to go from the end of the sitting down, where they normally I only go from there and work my way down. So my old bags is a little bit wider than what I normally do them. I've got my tape measure here. Oh, my tape measure's in the other room. But I normally do them, the zips are about 7.5 inches wide, so this is probably near about 10 inches. Oh, I have a one in my other little bag. Oops. My little bag that I keep all my bits in. I'll have a tape measure in there. I'll measure it with that. See what size it's come out. My bag, this is my bag. This is the size I normally do. I'll measure that one to see what size it should be. 8.5 inches, that one is. My own bag's 8.5 inches. This one is 9.5 inches, so I've done just a little bit longer than what I was intending. I'll put my tape measure back in there, that one. There. So I have started another one. I do little bits in between things of this one. So I've started this one. That's the way I work. I crochet backwards and forwards that way, but I keep on going till the length like that when folded in half. That's how the bag comes out. And that is easier to measure the length than doing it and folding it that way, because I can never get the length, the width right when I do it that way. So I prefer to keep on going, and then I know exactly how far I'm going to do it. So that's another one I'm doing in the middle of. I just do 1 or 2 rows when I finish something. I'll probably do a couple more rows of this before I start on what I'm doing on derricks after my lunch. So that's what I do. I just do a couple of rows at a time of these and keep these going, because these were popular at one time, the little notion pouches. I'm going to do a few more to sell. My hook's back over there as well. I'll put that over there. And this is how far I've got with derricks. I did a little bit of the tutorial last night to show how much I had done. So that's the start of one of the sides, and it'll grow a lot faster than it did with the back, because it's only got half the number of stitches. So I had, after I did the rib part on the back, I think I started off with 130 stitches, and then I always increase after the rib. I always increase a few extra stitches, because I like the rib to be a little bit tighter, because it does slacken off after it's been washed a few times. So I started off with, the back was 130, I think, or 132, and I ended up, after I increased, I had 142 stitches. So there's only 70 here. I started with 65 for the rib part, and then I have 70. So it's only half the number of stitches at the back. It'll not take me half as long to knit it. Which I'm always glad when I get the larger part finished, because it's quicker when you're doing the smaller part. So that's how much I've got done with derricks, and I'll be doing that. I'm going to get some lunch after I've done this video, and then I'll be starting on derricks. And my own last night, after I said I had that trouble with that wool that I swore was not the same, and it wasn't, because I started knitting with this one. I pulled out, I showed in the video, I pulled it out down to there, and started knitting with a new ball. It was the last ball I had actually of this, which I'm glad, because I had been using, I keep about 5 balls for myself for doing anything for cardigan. So it can take no more than 5 balls for myself for a cardigan or a sweater. And I had kept 5 balls of this, but for some reason there was one other spare ball that I was going to put into my spare balls for doing little children's things. I thought, oh, I'll keep that until I finish the cardigan, just in case, because I've never knitted with this for myself before. And I wasn't sure whether it knits up, whether it goes as far as the ordinary acrylic, because I'm sure this is, not absolutely certain, but this is some more majestic. And the feel of it, and I have done a little test with it, and I think this has either nylon or polyester in it. It's so much acrylic and so much polyester. I can tell by the feel of it, it's not just ordinary acrylic. So I wasn't sure whether 5 balls would be enough. So I kept that extra ball, and I'm glad I did, because I would have had to finish it off with that other ball that was a different thickness. It could be more like 4-ply. I'm sure the other ball I was using was 4-ply, because one of the little bit that I knitted just felt a lot finer. And I could tell when I started knitting with this ball that it was the right wool that I had been using all along. I could tell by just the feel of it. So anyway, that's how much I've got for with the sleeve on this one. And I have a little bit of information about my Ireland tax thing. You know, I told you all in the video yesterday, I did my tax returns, my self-assessment, self-employment, self-assessment tax returns, just so I could have all those forms, sent them to HMRC, so I could have all those forms put into the PDF and send them to Google Ireland for my tax thing. And they never accepted it. It come back with not the kind of document. But there was also, my phone there was also a little bit more information that said that please send your UK tax residency certificate. Now, I've already sent that twice before and they rejected it. The first time I sent it, this was when I realised that whatever you send to them has to be an exact wording what is on my AdSense account. That's where my money from YouTube goes into AdSense account. And on my AdSense account, my name, because my Google name was Granny Smith, that's what it was on the AdSense account. My name was Granny Smith, and it had my address, it had my full address. But the certificate that came from HMRC had my name on it, but it didn't have my full name. It had Sheila M. Smith, Mrs. Sheila M. Smith. So the first time I sent it, I didn't realise that those names had to match on both documents. So when I sent it, they refused it because it didn't match. It said, I forget the exact words, but just saying that they weren't a complete match. And I didn't realise that, so I started Googling it, and that was when I found a lot of things where people said that you have to have the exact same name. Everything has to be the same on the certificate, the tax certificate, is what is in your AdSense account. So I went onto my AdSense account and I changed my name to exactly what it said on the certificate. I put my name down as Mrs. Sheila M. Smith. Now, when you fill in this document thing for the tax thing, for the certificate, it asks for an expiry date. Well, there is no expiry date on that certificate because HMRC only puts a date on that they send it out, because they can't say that you're going to still be in the UK after that date. So when you fill in this thing in, when you try to put that date on that's on the certificate, it comes up red. It won't let you put it on. You have to put a later date on. So anyway, I thought the only thing I could think of was the tax year. For our tax year was April to April, so I put April 25 on. And it come back with the date didn't match. I refused it again. The date didn't match on both documents. So I gave up on that, and I started sending other things, anything I could think of, and they just would not accept anything I sent. And then when I sent my self-assessment form that I got the PDF from HMRC after I filled it all in, I got the PDF, I sent that to them. And they refused that as well. But I never looked at the message properly that came with it. And when I did, I read it over again, and it said, send in your tax residency certificate. I thought, I've already sent it to you twice and you will not accept it. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose, I'm going to send it in again. So I had to go into my AdSense account and change my name back again, because I had changed everything. For every certificate or every document I sent, my name was spelled different. Sometimes it was spelled Mrs. S.M. Smith. Sometimes it was spelled Mrs. Sheila M. Smith, and sometimes it was just spelled Sheila Smith, didn't even have Mrs. on. So every time I sent anything in, I had to change my name on the AdSense account. So I had to change it back again to exactly what it said on the form, on the certificate. So I changed it to Mrs. Sheila M. Smith. And I changed my address as well, because they only had the address half written. They only had the street and the town and the postcode, nothing in between, the estate I live on or anything. So I had to change all that as well. And then when it came to asking for the expiry date, again, they wouldn't let me put the date that was on the certificate. So I thought, the only thing I could think of, I'll put the Republic of Ireland's tax year is from January to the end of December. So I put the 31st of December 2024 as the expiry date, and I sent it in, keeping my fingers crossed. And I thought, oh, it's going to be another refusal. About 2 hours later, it came back that they had accepted the form, and they always do that. They accept the form, but then later on they send you another email saying we need more information from you. So I waited and waited, and I never didn't get this other email thing coming back. And then the email come back and said, accepted, the tax residency has been accepted and validated, and it is now active. The only thing I can think of was the expiry date on it should have been for their tax year, not my tax year. So I am still not holding my breath, because you have 7 days to make sure that it has been accepted and validated. But I could possibly still get another email asking for more information, but that usually comes straight after I send the thing in. So anyway, that's another rant over with. I hope that my tax situation has been sorted out. Just for everyone, because 1 or 2 people are sending me little emails and telling me how, what I should look into, things I should look into to get it sorted and all that. So I am hoping that it has been sorted. And then I'm going to ring up the solicitor who didn't know what to do about it either, because I did ring up a solicitor to ask if he knew what I should do when they would keep refusing everything, and he had no idea either. But he said he was going on holiday for a week or something, and for me, if I would ring him back, he told me the date he was coming back, and he said if I would ring him and let me know, because I told him I was going to send my self-assessment forms in to see whether they'd accept them. And he said to let him know. He said he's no charge for his whatever information he was giving me, which I wasn't paying him for anything anyway, because he wasn't giving me any information. But he asked me if I would let him know what happened, whether they accepted it or not, and whether I had managed to get it through anyway. So I'm going to ring him up and tell him exactly. And I'm going to say that that's £50 I want off you for that information. Just kidding. So anyway, that's thumbs up and subscribe. I'm going to get my lunch now. So bye for now.